I'm going to demonstrate our drill bit sharpener to you. This also works as the chisel and play blade sharpener does, offer power, any domestic power drill. It sharpens all the main four types of drill bit, HSS and masonry and center point wood and flat wood, 3 to 13 millimeter diameter. So it's very versatile and very wide-ranging. The sharpener fits on like this to any bench. You just screw it down, takes 2 minutes, hook it up to a power drill. You've got 2 grinding wheels, aluminium oxide and silicon carbide. You need a silicon carbide to doing masonry drill bits. So I'm going to sharpen first of all the HSS drill bit. It's one of the most popular. And the first operation is to set the drill bit up in the correct starting position, because this is quite a complicated geometry at the tip. And so that we've got a setter here, which flips down and then locks into this. And we've got a collet, which works from 3 to 7 millimeter. And then another collet which works from 8 to 13 millimeter. As I mentioned, the range of sharpening is 3 to 13. So we put our drill bit in like that, in a kind of a loose sliding fit. Then we've got the holder, the collet holder, in the set position here. It's clearly marked set. And we're pushing the drill bit down so that you can feel that it's being held by the setter, and turning the drill bit clockwise, and then tightening up the turret. And now taking this out, and you can see that the cutting edges of the drill bit, these are the cutting edges, are aligned with the index marks here. So that was the purpose of the setter. And so we now don't need the setter anymore, and we're repositioning this holder with the drill bit in the wider slot, which is marked HSS rather than set as it was before. We're going to turn on the power drill, and this is the action which is going to give the correct relief angle, and then I'm going to turn it round on the other side to do the other side of the drill tip. And you can see that first of all, the point is central, so it's 118 degrees, I was mentioning earlier, and you've got the correct, these are new cutting edges, and correct relief angle on the whole of the tip. You can also see that I was moving this slightly from side to side here, because that will even the wear on the grinding wheel. And yeah, so that's HSS drill bits. Okay. Second one we're going to be doing is masonry, which has the angle is changed on, or not changed, but it is 132 degrees included angle, and that's built into the sharpener. We now move this carriage, as we call it, to the other side over the silicon carbide wheel, and same principle, putting the drill bit in the holder. And now, because it's a much simpler shape, there's no kind of relief angles, etc., we're putting it in the slot marked masonry, and we're aligning by eye the edge of the drill bit, the two edges of the two sides of the drill bit, with the index mark running down the front of the thing, and we've got the drill bit on the grinding wheel, obviously. Now so this is just by eye, and this is like that. I take it out, and I haven't aligned it correctly, so we have to put it in again. Let's have another go. And that, you can see, is that line of the drill bit, if you like, is aligned with these index marks. So that's the correct setting position or setup position for the masonry drill bit. And I'm now going to, this is a four-edged masonry drill bit, meaning it's got an edge there and also a relief edge on the back. All this is, the whole head is tungsten carbide, as I think I mentioned before, and therefore you need a silicon carbide wheel to sharpen this. So this is now going to go in here. I'm turning on the power drill again. Turning it round. And this has done these two main edges on here. As I was mentioning, there's masonry hammer drills, which are mostly the ones masonry drills sold now, have a relief angle on the back. So I'm now going to do that narrower angle, and I move the holder over to 4, and we're now going to put it in again, and the same procedure. And it's done the narrow back angle on the masonry drill. All this is at 132 degrees included angle, because that's built in on that side. We now carry on to center point wood bits, which, as I mentioned earlier, we think they're the only company that is able to sharpen these. Here you've got a little guide which fits in between the two wheels, and I'll just show you this before I sharpen. We're using the curvature of this wheel to create the curvature on the two sides of the drill bit, because the sharp edges of this drill bit are there, and those edges are the result of that curve. So I'm going to be holding the drill bit in this channel, and this channel, this guide accepts, as I mentioned earlier, 3 to 13 millimeter diameter drill bits, and we're putting in this position. I'm going to turn on the power drill, and it will regrind, take a sliver off that surface, and in doing so, it gives you a new cutting edge. So what it's done is, as I mentioned, it's taken a fractional sliver of metal off. Let me get something to point on. It's taken a fractional sliver of metal off of that surface and of that surface. And in doing so, it's giving you a sharp new edge there and a sharp new edge there. So this is sharpening center point wood, or they're sometimes called brad point drill bits, and 3 to 13 millimeters. And finally, we go to, now this is not a guided, as the others are, guided sharpening. It's a hand-eye sharpening. This is a flat wood bit. You've got, again, a sharpened edge here and a sharpened edge there. And we are going to be recreating or resharpening that edge by using the curvature of this silicon carbide wheel, as you'll see in a minute, to create that curve. We're going to be taking a sliver of metal off that surface and off that surface, which is going to create a new cutting edge there and there. So we have as I talked before, taken a sliver of metal off that surface and of that surface, as you can see, and we've created sharp new cutting edges there. So finally, I would mention that these grinding wheels are very, very good quality. They will give about 150 sharpenings of a 6mm HSS drill bit. To give you an idea, this will give about 75 grindings, resharpenings of a masonry drill bit, and even when they're worn out, you can buy replacement grinding wheels. So this is a product for many, many, many years' use to sharpen up a lot of drill bits.